Well, hello everybody, welcome back. It seems like free speech is under attack, and the government of the world is trying to censor and reduce freedom on the internet. They're censoring us. But here we are with some more Fixing RWBY. This is the third episode. I'm doing a new mic setting, so let me know how that is for you guys. So, with our different filters, so we are going to get into episode 3. I'm keeping that in there. Let's go. City in the sky. Well, we could go.
Low mechanical rhythm. Lines
Well,
of
we
light.
could go straight to the thingy.
Episode 3 opens on a slow, low mechanical rhythm.
Okay.
Lines of light pass by the camera, and it pulls back to reveal their mounted lights on the shaft of an elevator as it descends diagonally. Standing on the platform are Ruby and Ironwood, both waiting for the
Check it,
elevator
check
to
it,
reach
check
their
it, check it,
stop.
check it, check it, check
Ironwood
it.
is composed and calm as usual, while Ruby clearly has some anxious energy she's trying to keep in check. Eventually, Ironwood breaks the relative silence. Thank you for joining me on short notice. We only have a small window where she's active. Ruby, looking
I think this is the Doom soundtrack from Doom. I think.
around in awe as they descend deep into the core of Atlas, replies, "It's no problem, General. Is this about securing the..." The elevator finally slips free of the shaft, the platform completely exposed as it descends even further into...
Is this where the keeping? Yeah, this is the relic place. So they're allowing Ruby to know where this place is this early on. Even though how defensive Iron would normally be. Okay, let's see where this goes.
a wide cavern very similar to the one beneath Haven. Ruby stares at the chamber and the massive door that sits at the end of it, in awe. Ironwood is completely unfazed by their surroundings, and when the elevator finally comes to a stop on the floor of the chamber, he casually steps off it while asking, "How are you and your team settling in?" Ruby, shaken from her
Oh no, this is Halo soundtrack. I hear it now.
staring, stumbles a bit to follow. Good enough. No complaints so far, though, I mean, it hasn't been that long, so it's kind of hard to...
We pretty much take it all.
Son of a gun. Okay, so that that is the door, right, to the relic?
Sorry. She rambles to a stop. Ironwood just shakes his head warmly. Well, if there are any problems, please don't hesitate to ask. Ruby only awkwardly nods in response, and again her eyes begin to wander the room. So this is what it's like. I never went down to the chamber at Haven. Ironwood glances at her out of the corner of his eye. They reflect each kingdom in their own
Ah, okay, yeah. Caught it.
way, but they're roughly the same. Certainly ours has some non-standard additions, he explains, nodding to a walkway that extends out from the platform containing the door. It leads to a boxy room embedded in the wall. Ruby, Ironwood starts, climbing the steps towards the vault door. You've been led into a world that most people will never be given a chance to see. Got a peek behind the curtain. I fully intend to give you all the time you need to make your decision. But I think we both know that there's no real way to go back to a normal life after everything you and your friends have learned. As they climb the steps up, they begin to...
Okay, I understand where they're going with this, but I feel like Iron was being too open up about it. Despite all the circumstances, I think he shouldn't been doing this. He should have been more cagey with showing her the relic.
veer in the direction of the added walkway. Ruby blinks up at his back. Doesn't mean we couldn't carve out our own kind of normal. We haven't really had time to talk about it. We've got friends in Vacuo, so maybe we could go there? Ironwood nods at this, betraying no surprise or disappointment. They approach the building and pass on through the first door, entering a sterile observation room with a one-way mirror that Ironwood steps up to. Beyond it is a mini medical ward containing a singular, well-maintained medical bed, dozens of advanced
Oh, did she ever meet her? I mean, blah blah.
medical devices, and an elderly woman who is being tended to by Penny. Theodore, though eccentric at times, is an excellent headmaster, and I'm sure he'd gladly accept you if you do. Travel might be a bit tricky, unfortunately, but I'm sure something could be arranged. The recall of our forces and the embargo have gotten tensions raised, and Vacuo's council fears war is coming. Resting an arm across the glass, Ironwood frowns. If only they knew how close we actually were. Just not with each other. Penny seems to hear his hand touch the window and turns to wave at the glass excitedly, having no trouble looking through it to see Ruby and Ironwood. Ruby gives a little wave back, but looks in on the frail maiden with concern, watching how gingerly Penny...
I forget, did this happen in Volume 7 of Ruby? That Ruby met her like this? I don't recall that ever happening. I don't remember.
treats the woman as machine after machine is disconnected from her. Ironwood breaks her focus by asking, "Have you and your friends given my offer any consideration?" Ruby curls inward with uncertainty. No one's really sure what to make of it. The whole architect thing really has Weiss spooked, and Blake, the big space laser thing has her worrying too. Ironwood nods stoically, commenting, "Understandable.
It's Batman.
I'm asking you all to follow me into difficult times." Ruby continues, "I haven't seen John, Ren, or Nora yet, so I can't say what they're thinking." For a moment, she offers him a wavering smile and scratches the back of her head. "Yang wants to give you a chance, though." Ironwood absorbs the information before asking, "And what about you?"
Well, that makes sense. I mean, he did give her a brand new arm.
"I could use someone I can rely on." Ruby becomes pensive, her eyes locking onto the maiden's frail form, especially as Penny is accidentally too rough with removing a piece of equipment and causes the woman to flinch. "How old is she?" Ironwood pauses, but noticeably doesn't point out that Ruby dodged the question. "I've learned the hard way you never ask a woman her age." This earns a weak smile from Ruby, one that doesn't last. She becomes decidedly more uncomfortable when she asks, Wouldn't it be better if you found a younger maiden?" Ironwood's brow raises, and he's quick to ask,
How?
"Are you suggesting..." And Ruby is quick to wave her hand emphatically. No! Not at all. I don't like killing." She goes quiet, pensive. "I just mean, didn't you guys have a way to move the powers to someone else? Without that?" Ironwood nods in understanding and points to what seems to be a replication of the aura transfer device we saw back in Volume 3, sitting
yeah.
in the corner of the medical room. Unfortunately, it's far from perfect. It's there as a contingency, but we suspect she wouldn't survive the transfer. They watch as Penny removes the last of the devices and eases the woman
Yeah,
into
so high chance of her dying no matter what happens.
a wheelchair. Maiden finally unfettered, the last thing Penny does is put a blindfold over the woman's eyes before beginning to roll her out towards the observation room. Freya's a fighter. Always has been. Reminds me a little of you, actually. They watch Penny...
Maybe so she doesn't know exactly where she is in Atlas, probably.
Penny pass by them with a...
For her own safety. That's totally not like the only protection act and such, which claims it's for safety, but people's safety, but it's not.
friendly wave as she pushes Freya into the main chamber. Before following, Ironwood adds, "All we can do now is make sure she's as
Well, children's, but you get the idea. It's a trusting house.
comfortable as she can be and that Penny is the last woman she sees." Ironwood begins to follow the two, only to pause at the door. He turns to Ruby, brows raised. "Oh, and I'll ask you not to speak. We can't risk..." Ruby nods grimly. "I understand." The two make their way out to where Penny and Freya are parked in front of...
Oh yeah, whoa. I don't think... No, they never did this in the original Volume 7, so this is like... Damn, this is like a... I will not being so cagey.
the door. Penny is gingerly guiding Freya's hand to the surface, and it glows when it makes contact.
Like, he's very, very trusting.
The door contracts, pulling away the multifaceted slides that compose it until it reveals a wide, grassy field with a crisp blue sky. In the center is a stone dais upon which floats a golden scepter, presumably the relic of creation. Stoic and serious, Penny turns to Ruby as she and Ironwood approach, and she reaches out her hand expectantly. Ruby, equally as serious, hands over the relic of knowledge and watches as Penny marches it
Oh yeah, that's right, she has to hand it over. I totally forgot.
into the vault.
Whoops, it's been a long time.
It is placed besides the relic of creation, and for a moment, the two orbit each other, almost like a dance, before slowing to a small spin around the center of the dais. Penny retreats from the vault and gingerly guides Freya's hand to the entrance. With another glow, the vault seals, leaving the room in comparatively dim light. Ironwood looks at the three women and says, "Thank you."
Damn, that face.
Freya sighs from the exertion.
It's like, oh, that face.
"No problem, James, but do be kind and come visit more often. Penny is a sweet girl, but some more visitors would be nice." Freya turns and looks directly at Ruby, despite the blindfold. It's only a glance, enough for Ruby's back to shudder before she turns back to Ironwood. Ironwood laughs. "Nothing gets by you, Freya. I'll endeavor to stop by more frequently." Freya seems appeased by this and sinks back into her wheelchair. "I'm tired now, Penny. If you'd be a dear." Slowly, Freya's head hangs forward and to the side, beginning to doze almost immediately. Penny smiles warmly at Freya and quietly wheels her back to the medical ward. Once the door to the ward is closed, Ironwood gives Ruby a glance and says, "You can speak now." Ruby deflates with a long exhale and stares sadly at the door.
Albion Online is a
YouTube with their 18 plus ad really likes to push it. I mean, with their 18 plus thingy, really likes to push it unless you get a membership. Because it bombards you with ads if you don't. And yada yada yada. Trying to force you to pay. So let's get back in.
"She's so frail." Ironwood nods. "We all have our parts to play, and some are less pleasant than others." Without another word, Ironwood begins to walk back towards the elevator. Ruby follows but stops at the stairs, pausing to watch him go. She looks towards the medical ward, then back to the door, imposing behind her. We focus on her face, almost despondent before it hardens. Tightening her fist, she turns and walks off after Ironwood. She'll have enough time to rest before we need her again. Ruby looks at him quizzically. "For what?" Looking to the door, Ironwood explains. "I plan to use the Staff of Creation to fuel Harpoon. It's the only way we manage to solve the problem of dust losing effectiveness once it leaves our atmosphere. It's powerful enough to keep Atlas in the air. It'll be powerful enough to destroy the reason we put it there." Ruby frowns, more confused. "Wait, well, Atlas fall?"
Yeah.
The two step onto the elevator platform as Ironwood chuckles. "We're already preparing for a soft landing back in the crater. Just the first step in the real goal. Unite humanity." Yang's voice carries
Yeah, but below you is mantle, and if you go down, you go poof. Unless you can guide Atlas away.
over the scene. "I hope Ironwood doesn't keep Ruby too much longer. She's missing lunch." We cut to Atlas Academy's massive cafeteria where Weiss, Blake, and Yang are seated and digging into trays of food. Blake frowns at her tray, picking at the food with her fork. She's not missing much. Weiss finishes chewing and daintily dabs her lips with a napkin. "I'm told the nutrition at Atlas is perfectly balanced for the growing huntsman." She goes to scoop up another bite, but freezes and frowns. After a beat, she sighs and swirls the food. "Think the tribe had better food than this. I'll be sure to tell Corporal Hugh that the next time I see him." The new voice causes Weiss's eyes to bulge and her back to go straight. Yang and Blake, surprised but not as much as Weiss, look over to find Winter, sitting down across from her
Sister.
sister with her own tray of food. He takes great pride in his meal plans. Tucking a napkin into her collar,
Well, I mean, you gotta find comfort in something.
she looks to Yang and Blake. "Miss Belladonna and Miss Xiaolong, I believe. Pleasure to meet you." Yang awkwardly flicks a finger gun with a quick "yo" as greeting, and Blake straightens her posture with a nod as she replies, "It's nice to meet you too. Weiss speaks very highly of you." Winter looks pleased about that, smirking knowingly at Weiss. Does she now? Weiss, though growing a blush, crosses her arms proudly and pushes her nose into the air. "Of course I do. We're family." Winter's grin slips away and her face grows more serious. "On the topic of family, care to explain to me why you bribed a smuggler for passage out of the country?" Weiss's haughty demeanor sags, but her face tightens with resolve a moment later. "Father and I had a disagreement in regards to my future, and I simply wanted nothing more to do with him." Shortly after, her posture becomes meeker, still proud, but more exposed. "And I wanted to get your advice on things." Winter's frown dips lower, more concerned than angry. "Weiss." Rubbing at her brow in a way very reminiscent of Ironwood, Winter's frown becomes overwhelmingly disappointed. "No one knew where you went. It was kept quiet, but you made everyone worry." Weiss levels a flat stare at Winter. "Everyone." Winter closes her eyes and
Everyone.
and opens them again. I worried. The first I hear after returning home is that my little sister has vanished and no one knows what kind of condition she's in. Even Klein, stopping herself, Winter realizes she's begun to rant. She leans back in her chair,
No, Rand, do it.
almost instantly composed. Please promise me, the next time you plan to do something so reckless, you will find a way to let me know you're okay. Weiss finally deflates all the way. Fate.
Gotta get into the hacking scheme, Wise. To learn how to get into programs and then. Send an encrypted message to Rice and let her know. Yeah.
Is pensive. If I could have gotten in touch
Well, that depends if Jack lets her.
with you, I wouldn't have needed to leave in the first place. From beside Winter, Yang shrugs casually. You'd have still left, though. The two sisters look to her, who smiles back at them before digging into her lackluster meal. Pointing her fork at Weiss, Yang adds through a full mouth, You hated it there, right? Of course you'd want to get away from it all. She swallows and finishes her words clearly. I certainly wouldn't blame you. Is that so? Winter looks to Weiss, nonplussed. Weiss looks down at her food, still in thought, but smiles all the same. I suppose that's true. Regarding her sister with inscrutable eyes, Winter nods. I see. Well, so long as I am contacted before any future escapades, I'll be sure to measure my concerns appropriately. That smirk from before slowly returns, especially if your reports from Argus are accurate. There are some people in Atlas's chain of command that could do with being taken down a peg. Yang snickers almost
Hell yeah.
immediately. I don't know. Cordovan didn't exactly have many pegs left to take down. Winter's smirk becomes fuller while Weiss just rolls her eyes at Yang's wordplay. Blake, however, is surprisingly
Make a break professionalism. Do it. It is your destiny.
quiet, having lost interest in the conversation halfway through. In fact, her ears are flickering about, pointing this way and that, and she's
Oh yeah, about my point with the relic from earlier. I think he should have tried to convince Ruby to normally to let him get the relic so he can return it back. Honestly, since in the shows and whatnot, like I know this is different, AU and such, but he was more like more like caged up, like didn't really want to expose that much, keeping his playing cards to his hand, so to say.
looking down at her outfit with a growing concern. Humor dying down, Weiss looks to her. Blake? Everything all right? Blake's attention is drawn back to the table. Oh, yeah. Weiss levels an unconvinced glare her way, and Blake sighs. People are talking about us. Yang and Weiss quirk brows and begin looking around the room. Sure enough, among the Academy students and even some military personnel.
Well, I mean, you got Winter's knee. You're a finest. You're not in actual uniform and missing an arm. You're Wife's knee.
There are skittish glances being thrown towards their table, ones that very quickly look away the minute they're being observed. Yang frowns while Weiss glances at their clothing, contrasted against the sea of whites and grays.
Oh yeah, that too.
We do stand out quite a bit. Blake's frown deepens as she listens more closely, and Winter closes her eyes in undirected frustration. You three seem to forget you carry some level of celebrity. Eyes open, she looks to Weiss, the second Schnee daughter. Then she looks to Blake, a faunus wearing the uniform of a foreign country. Blake pulls defensively at her jacket. Winter then looks to Yang. Yang's frown deepens. And what? Blake finishes off what Winter is hesitant to say. The brute from the semifinals. Falling forward onto the table, Yang hides her face in her hands with a groan. Blake frowns harder.
Yeah. I was in my mind. I was thinking maybe something nicer, but yeah.
It's not like anyone else could have known what really happened. Winter gives her an empathic look. I fear this may be a reputation you find hard to be free of, and in Atlas, you will soon learn, reputation is everything. From her hands, Yang's muffled words escape. I need to punch something. Weiss gives her a flat stare. That's not going to help the accusations. Yang lifts her head, a glare matching Weiss's stare. Oh look, a volunteer! The low murmur of the cafeteria begins to build, voices lifting in volume. The four pick up on this, and Yang grows more frustrated. Oh, come on, people, it was a joke. Blake, who's tuning into the noise with her ears, frowns. It's not you, Yang, it's... Where is she? The murmuring increases even more, and in fact, several students who are walking the corridor
He came
between
himself.
tables part to allow Jock to walk through, his face a cold, angry mask. Where is my daughter? After one more beat of looking, he finally discovers the table they're sitting at. Yang, Blake, and Weiss frown at him, with accents ranging from unimpressed to disgust to defiance, while Winter keeps her face schooled and calm. He stomps to them,
Extras.
eyes locked on Weiss. Winter speaks first. Father? He doesn't even look at Winter as he states, not you. Staring at Weiss, the rage behind Jock's mask is vanished away into a sickeningly insincere smile.
Now get 20% off.
I think we're like partway through the episode, so like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't. And now back.
Weiss, my wonderful daughter, where have you been? Your mother and I have been worried sick. Why, Whitley was absolutely beside himself. Weiss glares back at him.
Bullshit.
Hiding her genuine feelings. I'm sure. Jock replies, I can assure you we were quite concerned.
About where a trophy daughter went. Oh.
Winter's voice cuts him off, formal and direct, and also not a managed volume. Father, may I ask why you are here? Shooting Winter some of his residual glare, Jock slips even deeper into his mask, inspecting his fingers dismissively as he answers. Happenstance, if you'll believe it. Here I was, touring the latest thing that I paid for, only to learn my errant daughter arrived in the middle of the night. Yang's irritation bleeds away for genuine confusion. But it was day? Blake tacks on Riley.
They won't care.
Charitably the afternoon. For a moment, Jock is paused, his brain stalling at the unfamiliar banter before hopping back on track. Regardless, can you imagine how ecstatic I was to hear of your safe return?
You're pissed.
Do hope your little excursion was a productive one? His smile becomes even more twistedly sweet. Help you get out all those pesky whims out of your system? Weiss's glare hardens. My whims? Do you mean wanting to be a huntress? Jock's words, for the first time since the conversation started, sound genuine. Of course. I only entertained your fascination because it would do well to ensure your safety as heir to the company. Now it serves little more than as a distraction for you when you could be doing more practical things. Face twisting
There we go.
in confusion, Weiss asks, have you forgotten? You disowned me. Jock shakes his head. I never disowned you, my dear daughter. I simply removed from you a responsibility you were clearly not willing to bear. There is still plenty within the family and the company you're more than suited to do, but none of that requires any of this silly huntsman business. Yang
That's not silly, like I'll save your asses.
leans forward and thumbs over her shoulder. You do realize where we're at right now. The camera zooms out to a wide shot of the whole cafeteria, filled with huntsmen and huntsmen in training. Jock seems less flummoxed by this interruption and simply glares at Yang. Silly for her. Arching his back, he makes a grand point of saying his next words a little louder towards the watching crowd. I would never demean a fine institution such as Atlas Academy, especially as one of its largest donors. He motions for Weiss to follow him. Now, there's much to be done. Come along, Weiss. I'm sure your mother would very much enjoy seeing you after so long. Weiss stares at him in open disbelief. No? Jock turns back to her, his mask slipping and the rage beneath beginning to bubble. Weiss, however, after
Explode, man, explode, explode.
hearing her own words, loses the defiant look and stares at him, surprised, sorting through something in her mind. Jock turns around fully, squaring his shoulders authoritatively. Nonsense. You will return home and cease this childishness once and for all. Standing up behind Weiss, Blake rests a hand on her shoulder and says diplomatically, she gave you her answer. Yang also stands. His reply is quick and pointed. I am sorry, girl, this is a private matter.
No, it's not. Because she's in stiff business with Ironwood.
To which Yang counters, "Yeah, we know. That's why we're telling you to leave." Jock scoffs, "You and your fondest friend have no say in this. This is a Schnee matter. That either of my daughters ever lowered themselves to associate with the likes of you is..." He is cut off as Weiss's chair scratches against the floor, her eyes like daggers.
That's Kel Kittick's own chair. Yeah, and there's one point because I moved my own chair there.
Is completely and utterly your fault. The only person I have ever lowered myself to associate with is you, and that has been out of obligation. You don't hold a candle to the people I fought and almost died beside. Winter, hearing the timbre of Weiss's voice in that last point,
You go, girl.
slips into a look of serious concern. Weiss steps back to be beside Blake, and Yang steps forward in line with the table across from them, all three defiant. "I will stay with my team, and I will become a huntress." She turns to Winter, self-affirmed. Winter's concern shifts to surprise, while Yang and Blake share that look of surprise, but also support for Weiss. Jock's anger begins to boil through his social mask.
Blow up. Do it. Come on, man.
Through strained teeth, he hisses, "You will regret this, Weiss." Looking to her friends and then her sister, Weiss begins to walk her way towards the cafeteria exit, dismissively throwing her mussed ponytail over her shoulder. "The only thing I regret is wasting any more air on you." Blake
Damn, son.
and Yang follow after, with Yang shoulder checking the seething Jock on the way out. He glares after the three before turning his attention to Winter, who has also stood with her tray. "You did this to her." Winter doesn't even miss a step as she walks past him. "Now who's talking nonsense, father?" The scene ends with Jock staring after them, his face a barely contained boil
Roast.
of emotions. John's voice splices in over the scene. "I think I want to enroll in the academy." We cut to what appears to be the dorm room Juniper was given, where John is leaning up against the tall sliver of the room's window. Flipping through a magazine on her bed, Nora looks up curiously at him. "You're on board with Ironwood?" Ren, reading a book at his desk on the opposite side of the room, also looks towards John. John sighs and looks back at Nora. "Not entirely. I mean, we don't even know if the laser will be enough to kill Salem, but he's
But for like the most part.
the only person offering any kind of solution right now that isn't just sitting around doing nothing.
That is true. John's being a realist.
Or worse." With a groan, Nora falls back onto the mattress. "Maybe that's my problem. Shouldn't we tell people about her? I don't know why it has to be just us fighting her." Ren offers helpfully, "It's not just us." To which Nora is quick to correct, "You know what I mean. Maybe if everyone knew, we could all band together and stop her." John, from the window, shakes his head. "More people would panic. There'd be chaos, or they'd think we're all crazy. And then it'd be too late. We might be on our own anyway." Yet again, Nora groans.
That is true, but you would probably have actual people eventually come and rally and support the group, who would actually believe you.
In frustration. Feeling the negative vibe of the room, Ren speaks, looking first to Nora, then to John. "Even if Harpoon can't destroy Salem permanently, a weapon that large could easily be used to destroy a significant number of Grim Lakes. The number of lives we would be saving would be countless." Nora raises her head to look back at him, frowning. "You also sound like you're ready to sign up." To which Ren takes a moment to respond. "I have been strongly considering the option. It comes across as the most rational choice." Nora lets her head fall back onto the bed, pouting. "Oh, come on, guys. We came here to help Team RWBY, not to get wrapped up in some secret society." John looks up at
I mean, too late? Technically.
the ceiling. "I think we missed that boat when we left for Haven in the first place. I don't know if
You did.
there's any going back." The room quiets for a moment as the realization sinks in. Ren is the first to break it. "The events that brought us here have been circuitous. But it would feel irresponsible to abandon the world when we have the power to help." Nora stares at the bunk above her absently, frown firmly plastered on her face. I just want to help people." John nods to that and looks down at his fist. "We all do. And right now, I think the best way to do that is to finish our training, like we wanted to back in Argus. Sending a soft smile Nora's way.
Yeah, you gotta do what you gotta do. If you want to help people, well, at least do the hunter training. He's offering.
He adds.
Even if that means you have to help with the laser, you gotta do it.
After that, well, you're right. We came
I mean, you could just leave. That's another option. But I doubt it.
here to support Team RWBY. Let's try and see that through first. The 3-match looks.
And that option.
Nora uncertain, Ren stoic, and John weakly
Halo song.
optimistic. They each nod. We cut to the next morning in Ironwood's office. James stands next to his window reviewing a paper in his hands before turning to look at the assembled RWBY and Junior. RWBY and John both step forward, representing both teams, and RWBY says definitively, "We have your answer." Ironwood scans over them stoically before wrapping his arms behind his back. Slipping into a formal tone, he speaks. Good. There's just one last step. Cut to black. End of episode.
Okay, here's all the concept art and such. And everybody else that everybody can see. Okay, so I know I've been not been catching up lately. That's because of real life. So hopefully I'll be able to catch up. This is what I'm doing for today. So like, comment, and subscribe. Sorry about that talk about the IRL stuff, but I do believe it was important to bring up, make everybody aware, even during my reactions. So make sure to like, comment, subscribe. And leave a comment, tell me what you think. I think Ironwood was a bit too open up. But hey, that's just me. And I'll see you guys for the next part. Have a nice day. Goodbye.